28-year-old job applicant demanded a salary of $12,000 a month because he deserves it. Yes, I work at a small company of 40 people. Most of the time my boss does the interviews, but when he's on vacation I do them. Before he left he scheduled an interview with this one guy, to give him a look. I live in a mid-level cost area, state BTW. EDIT for the people claiming that $12,000 a month isn't that much. Perhaps not in Cali, but I'm in a mid-level state area, Michigan. Well, according to his CV and what he said during his interview, this guy started working at age 19 at some tourist trap as a tour guide. For some reason he was made the chief technician a few months after starting there. By this time he was still studying electrical engineering. He completed his bachelor's by age 23 and never did his master's. The establishment he worked at survived COVID, but crashed last year. Since mid-2024 this guy has been looking for a job. He revealed why, when I asked him for his salary wishes. He said something like I was the chief technician since I was 19 before I even completed my studies. Very strange, which indicates there was nepotism involved or something other shady in my previous job, and towards my end there I earned $12,000 a month. It continued basically with because I am so good and so great ya data I want to earn the same money here because I deserve it. Naturally boss told me to turn him down after getting this information. The arrogance, delusion and entitlement of this guy were absolutely astounding. This guy for some reason managed to land an above-level salary and position at age 19, and now he thinks he deserves the same pay at every new job he applies to. He would be lucky if someone paid him half of that sum. That's probably the reason why he is searching for a job since half a year, because no one will pay him this amount of money ever again, if his claim is true anyways. Edit. It's a private company where my boss pretty much decides everything. Unfortunately, I have no say in these matters. Average salary where I live is around $6,000 a month though. For the people that claim that the company I work at wants to screw workers. It's not the best company, but above average. I would give it a 7/10 in terms of pay, fairness, work-life balance. Acts so entitled she thinks I should be paying bills for her and the guy she cheated with. Found out my girlfriend of 11 years was cheating me with an unemployed dude, of all people. I'm not rich, but I provided her a good lifestyle. Paid most of her bills, provided a nice place. Nails and hair done regularly. Dates every weekend. Couple vacations a year. She got used to that lifestyle and wanted to keep living it despite cheating with a broke dude. She didn't admit to the cheating. I caught on to it. Once it was clear I was done with her, the entitlement really started to show. She said because I had family in the area and she didn't, I should move out but continue paying the bills to give her and the new guy a chance to get on their feet. She also insisted on keeping my dogs, told me I could only see my own dogs if I asked the new guy. But since they didn't have any money, I needed to continue paying for food and vet bills. Instead, I kicked her out and kept my dogs. At that point she was angry, and still felt entitled to my income. After I kicked her out of my place she claimed she was forced to quit her job because I forced her to relocate. And then she tried to sue me for lost wages, which didn't work out in her favor. You'd think she'd stop at this point, but she didn't. She contacted my work and threatened to sue them, stating your employees' actions cost me everything, and tried to insist they settle outside of court with her for $100,000. She didn't make that much money. Instead, my work filed harassment charges against her. You'd think she'd stop at that point, but she didn't. She started messaging every family member of mine that she could find. Told them I cost her everything out of spite just because she moved on with someone else, and that the least they could do is send her money to help her get a place and pay rent. When that didn't work, she went online and begged for people to send money to her Cash App to help her with a place to live, and claimed it was a domestic violence situation. I don't understand how she doesn't understand that any financial support I gave her would end if she cheated on me. We weren't married. We don't have kids. I've supported her for years. I owe her nothing. I really don't owe it to her to help her and her new relationship get on their feet and establish themselves, which seems to come as a shock to her. Anyway, the update, Thursday, July 4th morning. I was loading a few things in my vehicle to take to my cousin who just got out of the hospital. Neighbor, husband, who has been gone a lot for work recently, saw me and came over and asked if I was getting a late start going to the lake. I let him know that we were staying home because we are helping my cousin who just got out of the hospital. He asked if we were going to be home all weekend. I said yes, one or both of us be around all weekend. He quickly wished me a happy 4th and went home. I went back in to grab my purse and tell my husband about the conversation with the neighbor before I left. When I got home, our friend, Mike, was there. Mike does security cameras and home automation systems gadgets, and my husband loves gadgets. Mike and my husband have a plan for multiple cameras and several gadgets, some of which involve us going ahead and having the pool opened. I agreed to all but one of the new cameras and almost all of the gadgets. I think husband put some in the plan knowing he would have to give up a few of them. Mike also suggested talking to our homeowner's insurance agent because we might be able to get some discounts with the security upgrades. So on Friday the 5th, Tom, our insurance guy, comes over and Mike is back and he has a drone to help him find the best camera positions. Really, I think he just wanted to show off his gadget. So husband, Mike and Tom are outside and all around the house and occasionally inside. I look outside every so often, and at different times other neighbors have come outside and down to our end of the street. So neighbors want to know what is going on, so husband tells them we are concerned that someone or several people may have used our pool without our permission while we were not home. It turns out that 2 different neighbors had witnessed some friends of the neighbor children come over last year, and they and the neighbor twins had gone into our backyard. One neighbor even asked the girls, and they claimed that we let them come over all the time and use our pool. So at this point husband and Tom discussed this, and Tom says we should send a registered letter to the neighbors rescinding our permission from entering our fenced-in backyard. So before Mike and Tom left, the neighbors on the right pool party neighbors come home, both husband and wife. My husband asks to talk to them, and with Mike and Tom as witnesses he tells them that for insurance reasons we are rescinding our permission for them or any member of their family or guests to enter our fenced-in backyard. And we will be sending a registered letter stating this as requested by our insurance. Husband never accused them or their children of using our pool, but said we had reason to believe that in the past our pool had been used without our permission. He did say that we had reason to believe that their older children might be friends with someone who has been in our pool. Husband also told them that we are changing the gate to have an automated lock and cameras will be installed around the pool area. He also assured them that we avoid the cameras pointed at their windows or backyard. Husband indicated that we were taking these measures to hopefully lower our homeowners' insurance rates. Husband said that they exchanged a few looks between them, but they said they understood and appreciated the heads up. So hopefully this saga is over, but if there are any other updates I will try and post them. My mom thinks a court will give her my house. I bought a small starter home during the housing market crash completely by myself. I lived there for the better part of a decade before buying a larger home with my now husband. My parents really wanted to live there because it was small and easy to maintain. They have foreclosured in the past, so no way would they be capable of someone giving them a mortgage. Also, my dad is retired and my mom doesn't work. They wanted to rent from me. For a discounted rent they paid off the mortgage, let's say $50,000, with an over 6-figure inheritance my parents got. A lease was written explaining that it was a prepayment of rent and their rent would be only the taxes and insurance, and they would pay $350 a month. Basically only going up when taxes, insurance going up. We signed the lease with all the other typical stuff in it and had it notarized, and that's how it's been for a while now. So to be clear, I'm not making a fucking dime on this house. I recently told them the rent would go up by $3, yes, THRE fucking dollars, BC of a slight increase in the insurance. My mother lost her shit, claiming I'm a money-hungry bitch. She was going to rip out everything she did, garden and other cosmetic changes, that I owe her, and I can't evict her BC, it's her house. She's not responsible for the insurance. Lee says otherwise. Insurance hasn't been raised in a decade. Look at fucking lumber prices. I'm trying to make her pay my personal homeowner's insurance. A court will show me that and give her my house. We have a notarized lease. They are listed as tenants. I am the only one on the deed. My father demanded the bills. 0 balls this man has. To see if I'm ripping them off. P.S. This house is a commutable distance from fucking Manhattan, so a studio apt around here is like $1,500. This is a house with a large yard for their dog. I can easily get to K for this house, even before they moved in. I sent them copies of the taxes and insurance showing only their address. P.S. I'm charging them discounted taxes. You get a discount for paying in full 90 days early. I told them to add and divide by 12 and told my mother to talk to a lawyer so they can slap them straight. I guess my father agreed with me BC now she's divorcing my father. Update. First, I want to thank everyone. I was mainly just venting BC. I was very upset after the exchange and have been dealing with some health issues which my parents know about, so it's just a range of emotions right now. I keep getting a lot of the same questions. They have lived there for years now. My mom has always been entitled and an alcoholic. Weekends and summers were spent with family. My aunt admitted when I was an adult it was to keep us from being around the alcohol. I mainly did this for my father so he can get a chance to retire after having heart surgery when he worked a physically demanding job for 36 years. They asked to rent the house and pay it off as a prepayment of mortgage, so the only big bill monthly was their health insurance. I had a few others interested in renting my house. I did not ask them for this. They did not co-sign on the mortgage or help with the down payment. Their name is not on my house deed. There have been rent increases in the past due to the taxes and insurance going up, and there was never an issue before. My husband's dad unfortunately passed away without getting to enjoy his retirement, a big reason why my husband told my dad he needs to retire and enjoy life a little, and his inheritance helped pay the down payment on our new house. My mom has a history of putting shit on me, and $3 is I guess my line in the sand. I started paying $200 a week after I graduated HS until I moved out. At 20 I worked about 65 hours per week on top of school to do this. And yes, shockingly, they foreclosed when I moved out. I stupidly put her on my phone plan and basically paid her phone for 2 years. Until the contract ended BC, she only paid me for 3 months out of those 2 years. She promised money for my wedding and never delivered. They didn't pay for college. They stopped paying for clothes, school expenses. When I was 16 BC I had a job. I know this is all a red flag parade, but I trusted my dad more than her I guess and thought I was doing a good thing. I also want to keep this house BC. I love it and want to move back one day. It's just too small for us as a young family, or allow my child to live there when they go to college and want to have fun without parents hanging around or racking up dorm costs. Also, she threatens divorce all the time. I doubt she actually go through with it.